Hi guys! Welcome to Tarot Tuesdays and I guess Taco Tuesday. Happy Cinco de Mayo for those of you celebrating it. Why are you sideways, you ask? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Let's see if some people jump on here. Don't know if it's gonna tell me. Ah, yeah, there it goes. All right. So, you guys know that last time we talked about the overall tarot, and this week we are going to delve straight into the Major Arcana. I'm really excited about this. I don't know if I can see your comments because I am sideways. We'll have to find out. So first, I want to tell you a story. Oh, there we go. The story starts out with a foolish person, Zero, infinite loop, who is looking anywhere except where he's going off of this cliff, and has no idea that he's about to go on an adventure. An adventure he shall have. In fact, he shall have an entire life cycle. The first thing that's going to happen is he is going to realize he needs to have some power and control. So he just fell off a cliff. Maybe he learned his lesson. In this card, you can see he has every piece of, or every suit in the Minor Arcana represented. He is the master of his craft. He's got it going on. In communion with the animals. Got some infinity going on. Very powerful, powerful card. But that's just Earth. Fool needs more than Earth. He needs inner wisdom and spirituality. And this is the Empress. I'm sorry, the High Priestess. I know the cards read backwards, and I will try to figure out why. But I am going to flip it around so that you guys can see it when I repost it on my brand new YouTube channel, TK Tarot, 2 words, hashtag Tarot Tuesday, where I already have posted a brief history of tarot and last week's video. So you guys can rewatch last week's video there. You can like, share, subscribe. You can see a brand new video that I just did today about the history of how we got the tarot deck. It's a fun little meandering story through the world, how we ended up doing divination with cards, which is a fairly new practice, so that's exciting. But back to our journey. Once we've realized we are in control of our little universe, we decide we want to go inward and be in charge of a much larger universe. And this is the High Priestess. She is fantastic. She was originally known as the papist, the opposite of the Pope, or the female part of the Pope. In these cards, and I will tell you now, I'm using the Golden Tarot by Cat Black instead of the Rider-Waite, although I did study the Rider-Waite extensively, so I do bring that up quite a bit. In this card, they've removed the Hebrew writing on the pillars that were behind her, but that shows up in the Rider-Waite. She's the spirit of the law, if you will. She is our inner wisdom and spirituality. And finding her allows us, or allows our journeyman, the Fool, to find his inner Empress. The Empress is one of the best cards in the deck to get, especially if you're asking questions about wanting to have babies. because this card is about fertility in all sorts, dominion over fertility, and also you can see there's 12 points in her crown. That's dominion over astrology as well, dominion over the 12 zodiac signs. So now we've got that covered. She needs an emperor. She is all things that are bountiful and beautiful and ethereal, and he is all things that are earthly and he is ruled by fire. He's a go-getter. He is all about having complete dominion over his domain. So now that he has that, he wants to go back to that high priestess where he found all that inner wisdom and make some rules about it. The Hierophant, the Pope. The Pope is all about religious tradition, other types of tradition. This card is specifically associated with marriage or other religious ceremonies. Also, you see these keys hanging around his neck here are the keys to heaven. So if we follow him, we will be able to get into heaven. And you'll see also in his counterpart, they both hold staves, which are, or scepters, and those are power. Those are associated with power over the spiritual. Well, we've had a lot of male, female, male, female, male, female. What we really need, what this guy really needs, is to get together. This is about a choice. This is a choice to bring balance and harmony between your male and your female. This is obviously the Lovers card, and yes, it does mean lovers. If you get it in your draw, in your future, or something like that, yes, it means romantic love. But it also means making a choice to balance those male and female parts of you, because you cannot move forward if your head and your heart aren't aligned. But once you do that, once you make this choice, you can move forward very well. In this particular deck, the Chariot is pulled by a black swan and a white swan. In the Rider-Waite deck, the Egyptian decks, or even I think the Marseille deck, it is it's two sphinx, a black sphinx and a white sphinx, but they are about the head and the heart. And once you have those working together, you can go forward. Having this card in your draw is very much about moving towards your goals and finding being able to go forward in a balanced way. I was telling this story to someone earlier, and they made me put my cards out of order. Now that we've found balance between the male and female and we've moved forward, we've discovered something else, which is our inner strength. Our inner strength of character. She's using nothing to tame this lion. This lion is just her pet because she thinks it should be. So before, where you saw the men having dominion over the animals, now we see the inner strength of women portrayed. And we see men, the hermit, male influence, being introspective. Introspection is so important for everyone. That's why it's a life cycle card. We've already been through so much in this life cycle. We need to take some time and think about what we're doing. So this guy is all alone thinking to himself. And I do have to flip the page on my notes, because there's a lot of notes. He is ruled by the earth and Mercury, or the messenger god. And so this is about, this is all about introspection, solitude, and occasionally, if you get it in reverse, kind of being a misfit. Maybe take a look at yourself. And then we finally come to a kind of halfway point in our cycle. This is card 10. Like I said, there are 22 Major Arcana cards. 0 and 21 are the beginning and end of the entire cycle. This is the end of the first half of the cycle. And this is the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune's great. It's a good luck card, generally, if it's upright. If it's upside down, you're talking about probably a turn of luck for the worse. But because it's a wheel, it always comes back around. It's a cycle. So this card is about cycles coming to an end or continuing. So that's the first half of the Major Arcana. And then we get to move into something a little different, because now we have our domicile. Now we have our spirituality. We found our place within the universe a little bit. And we have to start thinking a little bit bigger than that, which is why in the second half of the Major Arcana, we have things like justice. It's exactly what it sounds like if you're doing a card like wondering, hey, how is my court case going to come out? And she's upright, you got a pretty fair chance. And this is about being fair. This is about fairness. So everything we've talked about, balance and all of that, it's all in this card. Hello. If you're just joining me, just so you know, I am going to repost this to YouTube later on my new YouTube channel, TK Tarot. I know this is backwards, can't figure out why, but I'll flip it around before I post it. Super excited. So, 2 words, TK Tarot. I already have a history of a brief history of how we came to know the tarot deck posted there, and last week's video. And when we're done here, I'm going to post next week's video. And guys, don't be afraid to jump in. If you have a question or you think I'm getting something a little off, or if you want to add something to what I'm saying, go ahead and jump in. So, our little guy has already been through so much. And now he's figured out fairness is important. And then we have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is, it's interesting because if you go back and you watch the video, I was just talking about a brief history of tarot that I made this morning and managed to post 6 hours later. I love YouTube. This was a common punishment in Italy and in the 1440s, 1450s, when the Major Arcana or Major Secrets deck, the Triumph deck, was developed. So that's where the imagery comes from. But this is about surrendering, sacrificing, and waiting for your moment. This is about, sometimes it can be about indecision, or missing an opportunity. If it's in reverse, it looks like you're just gonna walk away. What is the best way to lay out the reading? I've seen so many ways, and I don't know which one is the best. That's a great question. And I definitely want to do a whole video about readings. I would say the best way to lay out the reading is to consider your querent's question, and then find a reading that fits it. So if somebody asks me very, sort of, should I see this guy again question, I might do a past, present, future. But if somebody asked me, am I going to be happy in my new job, I might do a full Celtic cross. And then there are a zillion ways to lay the cards out. You can make up your own. It's all up to you. Not up to him, though. He's waiting. He's waiting to figure it out. And while he's waiting, I guess he gets transformed or dies. No, I'm kidding. Totes kidding. This card generally does not mean death, although occasionally in reverse it can mean a long-term illness. This card is about change. major transformation. This is not minor transformation. This is not an 8 of coins. This is not something like that. This is about a major transformation in your life. And we've already been through so much, but these major transformations in life are things that you have to have all of the stuff we've already been through in order to accept and handle. I mean, we already fell off a cliff, and then we built all this stuff up, and then there's this new transformation. And we need to meet that with temperance. So temperance is, I explained this card last week. Temperance, feminine energy, fire energy. Kind of makes sense why I got it. Feminine fire. This is all about taking the middle ground. And like I said, when you find it in reverse, you find disharmony and indulgence or addiction and things like that. So temperance upright. But everybody goes through hard times, right? It wouldn't be the tarot if we just had all good stuff and no bad stuff, because life doesn't just have good stuff. Which is why we come to the devil. The devil in this card is portrayed pretty traditionally with these two down here. Now, what's interesting about the devil card is this is about bondage. This is about being in a situation that you don't necessarily want to be in. This can be about fear, being trapped in an abusive relationship or something like that. The most interesting part of this card to me, and I've seen it noted in so many places, is that these two people are not actually, their chains are quite loose, or they're not bound at all. They can walk away anytime. So this is usually a card that says you're in a bad situation. Let's see what we can do to get out of it. This is a card. This is another one of those higher ideal cards. Now that we're in the second phase, we've transformed. We've brought together our male and female. Except bad things still happen. The Tower is a card of catastrophe, unforeseen catastrophe. This card is literally, you can see an angel dropping the king out of the tower. This is an act of God, literally an act of God. If I was going to pick a quarantine card, it would be this one because of that. But let's say you get through it. We got through it. Then you find this fantastic card right here, which is the Star. And I talked about the Star a little bit last week because she came up, and she's a great card to have in your spread. She has 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water, and she's literally gifting life, because in most in the Rider-Waite deck, she is pouring water onto both land and into the water. So she's nurturing you she's nurturing your emotions, but she's also nurturing your physical needs. This is a very giving card. This card is a gift. This is a beautiful card. So sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes you just get graced by God, or the ethereal, or the universe, or however you want to call it. Which leaves us 3 more cards in our story. The first of these 3 is a feminine card. Water, ruled by Neptune, which we know is the king of the water. And it's the Moon. This card is about the mysteries of the emotional feminine. And it's also about hidden things, things that aren't quite clear on the surface. If you get this card in your reading, you're looking at a card that is telling you that there's something in your life that you're not quite grasping a hold of. There's some mystery left. If you get it in reverse, usually means that there's some dishonesty going on. And that's balanced entirely by the Sun. The Sun, obviously, very male card. And this is about unbridled joy and happiness. There is nothing hidden here. This baby is riding a horse, guys, and it's not going to fall off because the sun has blessed it. There's no reason to worry about the baby falling off the horse. I worry about it all the time because I'm me. But no, this is a card of unbridled joy and happiness and getting what we want and being blessed again. And this is a beautiful depiction of that. This one does not have sunflowers in it, but the Rider-Waite does. And I really like the sunflowers. They make me happy. So we've gone through all of that. We've gone through our trials, our tribulations. We've found balance. We've found spirituality, dogma. Figured it all out with justice. What's left? Well, in a very real Catholic, Italian, Renaissance sense, judgment. This literally means the judgment day. This is, you can see the archangels calling from above. This particular depiction has Jesus actually coming back. So this card is a final call to judgment. And when it's upright, it means you've done good. Which I like. When it's not upright, it means maybe you've made some bad judgment calls, or you need to look back at the blessings you've been given and find something positive in that. I'm so excited for all of you guys to be joining me. Because we are about to conclude this journey for this guy who has been through so much with the World. The World is the final card in the Major Arcana. It represents completion of the life cycle. And if you get it upright, like I said, heaven, completion of cycles. So, at this point, now that we know the story of the Major Arcana, I have no idea how long I've been going, guys. I wanted to delve in and look pretty deeply at the first 10 cards because I don't think that we'll have time to do 22 of them. I might run out of steam. If you're just joining me, you can watch this video later. You can share it with your friends right now. You can watch it later on YouTube, where I'm posting it at TK Tarot. And we're using hashtag Tarot Tuesday. Don't know why it's backwards, guys. I'll flip it around for the YouTube, because I can do that in video editing. I'll fix it in post. So yes, if you are enjoying this, please like it. Please share it. Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. So maybe I don't need to, maybe I don't need to go through all of the Major Arcana cards today. We could do the first 5 if you guys want, or if you guys have any questions about what I just said. I did so much research, you guys, about male, female in the Arcana. It is balanced. I kept a tally. There are 13 male cards, 13 female cards. And I know that 13 plus 13 is 26, but certain cards are both male and female, like the Lovers, like the Chariot, and things like that. I also went ahead and did a little astrological research into it. Each of these cards is ruled by one of the major Grecian elements: air, water, fire, earth. For example, the Fool is ruled by air. Kind of searching, head in the clouds kind of guy. I talked about the Magician, the symbolism in the Magician a little bit. He does have all 4 suits represented. He's master of all the 4 inputs. What are the different cultural imprints of tarot? Like, you've been going through the Italian deck right now. Are there... Why you type so much then? Are there any other major cultural tarot decks? Yes, there are. There are 2 other major cultural tarot decks that are used for divination. One is the Marseille deck, which was the original divination deck. You can find that information in my video on TK Tarot on YouTube. And that was developed in the French court because originally these cards, even the Triumph cards, the Major Arcana suit, these cards were used in gambling games. The other place that you'll see these cards is in Egypt. The Egyptian cards were known as the polo sticks, the coins, the swords, and the cups. And that's why you see this Egyptian imagery in some of the Major Arcana. And then you also see people wanting to say that a card divination started with the ancient Egyptians, which isn't true. It started with the French. Cartomancy, divination using cards, was just invented in like 1750. Like, people were using stones and bones and runes and chicken feathers and all kinds of tea leaves to do divination, and it wasn't until the 1750s with this particular set of cards that in fact, we don't even have evidence of cards being a thing before about in the 9th century in China. And so that is, to answer your question, Ben, another place you'll find a cultural impact from these cards, because that's where they were developed. They didn't have the 5th deck then. The 5th deck was added by the Italians, and that's why I talk about it so much. And then later, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck was created in 1910 by, I don't know if they were British or American. I'm pretty sure they were British. Aleister Crowley was really into tarot. Surprising no one. So, yeah. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. Please do check out my other videos too. I know I promised an in-depth look at the Major Arcana. Guys, it is so much. So I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to do a YouTube video this week about the symbolism in the cards that you guys can go check out on my new YouTube channel, TK Tarot. I'm going to post links to that in my feed. And then you guys can share that video through Facebook that way. Share the video from YouTube. Just share it. If anyone's interested, I do still have plenty of time to do private one-on-one readings. I don't ask for payment. I just enjoy doing it a lot. And, you know, if you wanted to do my dishes or something, I mean, totes fine with me, because they're not getting done today. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me. I can't describe how much joy this has brought to me doing this for you guys. And especially right now, I think that tarot and divination have so much to do with us wanting to control the world around us like the magician does. That is judgment. Yes, like the magician does. I flipped the tarot deck over. If there's... Yes, thank you, Marlo. Marlo, you're so great. And Ashley is great, and Dave's great, and everyone who watched is great. And everyone who watches later is also amazing and fantastic, and I love everyone. Well, you guys know me. I don't love everyone. But I love you guys. And I'm going to quit talking now because I'm about to have a coughing fit. Thank you so much for joining me. Questions, comments, leave them below. Like and share. Subscribe TK Tarot on YouTube. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.